Yo, what is up, guys? I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas and a wonderful New Year, and I hope you guys are all ready to jump into 2018. And it seems to be fitting that the first video of 2018 is about a broken car. Much like the video title says, I could use some help from you guys. I've been doing a bunch of researching on forums and threads and trying to figure out what exactly might be going on with my car, and I just really can't describe the noise enough to look it up on a forum and find out what might be causing it. As you can tell by the beanie, it's been friggin' cold out here in Florida, man. These past 2 weeks it's been like 40, 45 degrees like during the day. Like right now is a warm day and it's like 55. But it's the first day I've had a chance to really get out here and at least just take a peek at the car and show you guys what's been going on with it. And maybe you guys honestly really could help me. If any of you have any kind of SR experience, maybe you've heard a sound similar to this before, or just maybe any automotive experience, you might have heard this sound, or maybe these two issues linked together somehow. I just don't know the correlation between the oil pressure and the sound. The only thing that seems to make sense is an oil pump, but after lots of research, I really don't think that's it, but maybe you guys will know better than I do. But anyway, I'm just gonna try and give you guys a quick rundown of what exactly took place since Gainsville till now, and then I'm gonna fire it up and I'm gonna let you guys hear the sound and see what the gauge is reading, so you guys have a complete understanding of what's going on and can maybe help me out a little bit. Alright, so this is like 2 weeks ago, Gainesville Raceway. After my very last run for the day, I was pulling off into pits and I noticed that my oil pressure gauge was reading just bars straight across. It's an electronic gauge, so it was as if it was reading zero, just bars, like nothing. So I pulled it into pits, freaking out, thinking that I was pissing oil or something terrible had happened and my car was totaled. Pull it into pits, shut it down, check the oil. Oil's fine, no leaks, not burning anything. Everything seems fine. So that led me to think that maybe it was just some kind of wiring issue, or the sensor was going bad, or it was shorting out, or something like that. So we got into pits, we checked everything, everything looked fine. I started the car back up, it was running fine, it wasn't knocking, still reading zero oil pressure, but it wasn't having any symptoms of having zero oil pressure. It seemed like the car was running fine. So just to be safe, I shut the car off and I didn't do any more runs that day because it was just weirding me out that it was showing I had zero oil pressure. Now the funny thing was, even at zero oil pressure at the track, when I revved the car, you would see the oil pressure kind of flicker, you know, 40 psi or 30 something psi, like only when you hit the throttle. So idle it was zero, but as soon as you hit it, it would flicker like 40. And that's part of the reason why I thought it was some kind of wiring issue or a sensor issue, was because it was trying to read the oil pressure a little bit, but most of the time it was reading zero. It was at that same time that I started to notice this sound. It's whenever I get above about 4,000 RPMs, it's a really weird, grindy, rattly, raspy, I don't know how to explain it. I'll let you guys listen to it coming up in just a little bit. But that's when I first noticed the sound. So, as we were going to leave Gainesville, I was pulling the car up on the trailer, and as I'm pulling the car up, it's hitting all the bumps and everything, getting up on the trailer. My oil pressure gauge starts reading perfectly all of a sudden. It's reading 40 at idle. Everything's fine. It's like, it's right back to how it was working, operating, everything's fine. So then we got it all strapped down, brought the car home, unloaded it here, and now we're here. I started the car up a couple days ago to see how it was running and take it for a drive. It's definitely still making the sound when you're in neutral revving and also under load when you're driving. When I'm going through first gear and I shift into second, if I get up around 4,000 RPMs when I shift to second, you can definitely hear this noise, and I can almost feel it in the clutch pedal. Like it's so weird, I don't know how to describe it. It almost feels like there's maybe something in the transmission or in the clutch setup might be going bad, which is weird because we just replaced that a couple months ago. So either way, now the car is still making the sound, but at idle, the oil pressure reads fine. However, when I go into gear and I start driving, if I start to give it any throttle over 10% throttle, oil pressure just goes to bars. So if I'm cruising at like 50 miles an hour and I'm just in 4th or 5th gear and I'm just cruising, oil pressure will read fine. It's like 40 or so when I'm cruising. And when I'm at idle, it'll read around 20, between 20 and 25-ish at idle. So idle and cruising, it's fine, but it's whenever I start to get in the throttle, it just goes to straight bars, which I know, possibly oil pump, I don't know. But that's enough of me rambling about it. You guys kind of get the gist of what's been going on. Weird oil pressure, got this weird sound. I don't know if they're even related, and I haven't had a chance to really dive into any of it yet. So this is just a, before I dig into it, maybe you guys have some info for me, so I'm not ripping apart wiring and rewiring and replacing sensors when it might not even be that at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and warm the car up, and I'm gonna give it a couple revs for you guys so you can hear the sound. And if you've ever heard it before or you know what it might be, just please drop a comment down below. Let me know any thoughts you guys have on it, because it's a really freaky noise and it definitely sounds like it's coming from the engine, and that really worries me. All right, so we just got the car started. It's warming up. Oil pressure is reading bars. Fuels are good. Here's the sound. You can even hear it just at idle right now. All right, so don't mind the whining. I know that's the power steering, but listen for the little knocking that you can hear. All right, guys, so to be honest with you, that's not the noise that I've been hearing, that weird knocking. That was the first time I've ever heard that at idle. Typically, I would hear a noise that sounds kind of similar to that, but it would only happen when you rev it up to like 4 grand. So I'm thinking maybe just because the car's cold, it's kind of knocking like that all the time. I'm a little afraid to let it warm completely up now that I think about it, but it almost sounds like it's coming from valve cover, which, correct me if I'm wrong, could be maybe a timing chain slap if the oil pressure is acting up. I don't know, maybe it's rod knock. Tell me what you guys think. From my experience, I'm pretty sure rod knock is a lot louder than that. So I'm really hoping it's not that, but if you guys could, I don't even know if you could really hear it over the sound of the motor and that bad power steering pump, but if you guys could hear it, let me know. I think I'm gonna give it one more shot starting it up just to see if I can try and get a little bit more of that sound and see if it mellows out after the car warms up. Hey, look who showed up to help me film.
Hi. That sounds terrible.
Alright guys, so that noise that you heard when I was revving it is the noise that I've been hearing that I was asking you guys about. I don't know what that initial knocking was during cold start. Definitely doesn't sound good either, but I'm a little afraid to let it keep running because I really don't like either of those sounds, especially with that oil pressure light reading like that. But on a side note, when I was just giving it a little bit of throttle, the oil pressure light was flickering back to 40 and 60 psi, so I feel like the oil pressure might be fine. I have no idea. If you guys have any insight on the sounds, the oil pressure, if you've seen any of this before, if your race car is also broken, but yeah, if you guys have any input for me on what the sounds or anything might be, just drop it down in the comments below. Please give me some insights on this. But guys, that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you for watching. If you did like the video, I guess thumbs up it. I don't know why you would like a broken car. I mean, don't thumbs down it, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what, forget about it. Thumbs up the video, why not? Just like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and please drop a comment. Let me know what's wrong with this car. What is that sound? What is the knocking? What is that grinding? I'm at a loss, and I'm not really planning on ripping this engine out, so please just give me some guidance on what these noises might be. And until the next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.